But when I do mine, it shows me I do my address here, and it shows me that's my nearest network access point. So it could be anywhere. It's just a local person. That's as far as you can. There are other ways. Yeah, it could be anywhere within a 15-mile radius. So, but are you just trying to find information, or they send you something? There's differences. Are you downgrading your cut?
Got to keep things cool.
I can give you a secure way to send it to me, and I will tell you what.
2 minutes.
If it's threatening, though, that's different, right? So then there's other things, right? So
It wasn't threatening. It was just it didn't last for 5 seconds because I get emails from the comments. Yeah, I work from home, so I just delete it. And I never show her.
Hey, how are you?
And she gets so upset. Personally offended. Like, if you knew people really called, we would never do the show.
no, that's probably very nice about you.
I'm never showing her another comment.
So Joe Rogan said, never read the comments.
Yeah. I mean, after a while, I'm more like, the one with the boat totally perplexed me. Like, it made no sense. I wasn't picking on anybody.
No, I don't think what you said was.
People got, even Howard Smith got offended.
The funny thing is, like, we drove by there with him the day before. What the fuck happened to that boat?
Why is one boat still left?
Yeah. Why, there's more, though. There's more.
Behind the
mangroves.
mangroves.
You go back, there's tractor trailers and containers and shit sitting, back in off the bay.
Yeah. Somebody said there's still a dumpster, like I'll send pictures of the dumpster.
You can see even like looking at recent Google Earth pictures on new ones. People on a boat see it.
I'll just let my clerk get paranoid.
Come on, Dan. We're going to start right in with you. Come on. Get your boring interview out of the way.
All right.
Get your makeup.
That's funny.
Do your hair.
I know.
It takes 0 balls.
Here, come on. Here. Come on. It's 10 o'clock. You start your show.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Joy, can you hear okay?
And all ships at sea.
You got three. You got three.
Beijing.
It's so clear here.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Wright.
And welcome to Wahoo Willie's. Thank you. A little bit louder, please, because you know how Kim is with her ego. She needs applause in order to survive another day. Thank you all for coming in this rainy day. It's actually not even raining right now. It's a beautiful day on the beach. A little bit of drizzle.
It is raining. Look at my hair. It is like, this is not good hair weather.
Oh, your hair looks fabulous.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Right.
Well, it would have looked better if someone hadn't done two things,
Hold
which
on.
is,
They're saying the sound is not good. Let me see if I can fix it real quick. I appreciate you guys
Watching. We're going to start it again. Haha. Ready?
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Very much better.
It's always better when you can do it twice. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for picking up on the sound. Welcome to Sunday at Wahoo Willie's. And Hurricane Debbie is heading up to the Big Ben area.
Yep, Big
So,
Ben's.
We're going to be fine. You, Debbie. Hurricane Debbie just walked into the building, everybody.
Just walked right by us, yep.
We got a great show lined up today. After the mayor, we have Mike Greenwell running for his seat on the Lee County Commission. So stay tuned for that. Mike is here now. If you guys want to come over and get baseballs autographed or just say hi to him and talk to him about whatever you want to talk to him about. And Dan, what the hell's going on with this street here? It's flooded.
Yeah, well, we aren't even at high tide yet. So the duckbill was installed on Crescent, but I just drove through there and it's still flooding because the water's got no place to go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mess. I'm looking over here at Bayside Park and your Barbie truck here looks like it's going to be swimming pretty soon.
Barbie truck. It's a baby truck, not a Barbie
I'm
truck.
sorry.
So
That's what I meant.
when the duckbill gets installed,
It
is
is.
this
This one isn't yet down
yeah?
here.
But when this one gets installed, will it make it better, or is it just continuing to be a problem
Well,
because of high tide? Or
Yeah, we'll make it better because before, without that, when you would get high tide like this, it would backflow into the stormwater system, and then that floods on top of the rain. So the duckbill is meant to close, so it doesn't allow the high tide to come through. But if the water is above the top of that duckbill, there's really no place for the rainwater to go, and we're dealing with high tide. Like Matanzas over there, the water's already past their front door on their parking lot. So
Yeah.
we've got a couple more hours to go.
So real quick, this morning I did a video. I walked around the beach and the water looked a little bit violent. It certainly doesn't look like.
when you
Can I
were
finish
walking,
my?
no,
just
let me
finish my
just
sentence,
ask.
just
When
once.
you were walking around, were you using the umbrella you stole out of my truck and
Sure,
didn't tell me
my
and
friend-
left me high and dry,
my
or
friend-
no,
Why-
high and wet?
Better yet, why don't you guys have beach talk?
I know.
We
umbrellas?
have.
We don't. We're going to get yellow ones.
Really nice umbrellas
my
from
friend,
the sheriff's
my friend
department.
Sheriff Carmine Marcino came here one day and gave us 2 umbrellas, and
Yeah.
she has both of them.
No,
And so I said to her last
you
night,
have both of them.
I said,
now.
I'm going to go take the umbrella out of your vehicle because I want to walk around. And then I opened it and it was
Is it
broke.
unlocked?
I opened it. No, our car was not unlocked. Good one, Dan.
How rude! Would you leave Megan without an umbrella? No,
No.
There, check
No.
your vehicle for an umbrella.
I didn't expect you to steal it. It was in there the night before.
So I didn't lose my place. Did a walk around. We had 700 people watching. I mean, that's how much people love this beach. And so I'm going to stick around
Good,
after
they
she
can
goes
send
home
you
and
an
cries
umbrella.
about her umbrella. And I'm going to walk around another time because you say that high tide is 1:15
It's
today.
like right around 150.
Do you think we'll see some storm surge or no?
I think what we're seeing is the storm surge.
Okay.
I mean, you saw the Gulf. It's pretty
Mhm.
aggressive.
It was close to Times Square, but not right up and it
Yeah.
didn't hit Times Square. Will it
Yeah.
come at 1:15 when it's the highest? Will it come?
No, I think
closer?
the berm's doing its job. I
Yeah,
walked out there
yeah.
this morning and
Yeah.
it's not coming up to the berm yet, so I think we'll be okay.
Were you in
The
the
back bay area here, if you got low seawalls, you're going to have water like we have on Crescent Street Canal. There's a few houses there where the water's already come over.
But the waves, I mean, there was quite
Yeah,
some
yeah,
wave
it's
action
not-
out there.
Last night it was pretty wavy on the back bay, and now today it's pretty much all out in the Gulf. So
Were you in the rugby tournament yesterday? Did you play? I mean, you've played rugby in your life, right?
sure,
When you were
couldn't
younger.
tell that was me that was out there.
When I
Be careful, there were some guys in Speedos out there.
here's
Who's
what
to say
I
it wasn't
think,
me.
dude. Did you
No.
have a Speedo on yesterday?
Not that I can
Okay.
remember.
The thing I think with the rugby teams with the Speedos on, I think that's a strategy. Like, I'm not tackling a guy with a Speedo on. Sorry. I mean, I'm not getting in a scrum. Like, they were hugging. There was man hugging going on
Yeah.
during that game. I'm not hugging a
I
guy
don't
with a
think it's
Speedo.
hugging.
There's
They're
something-
trying to prevent forward progress, or they're grabbing them to throw
No,
them
they
to the
did
ground.
whatever
They're
they
not
do when they're
hugging.
they do a hug thing with 4 on each side and they roll the ball in
you
the middle.
mean-
It's like,
I'm no rugby expert. But
did you guys got
Are
a
you
uniform
rugby
on?
players? Yeah.
Did you play
Were
yesterday?
you in a?
I'd hug you, man, but there were some Speedo guys. Yes, did you
Look,
you
he
have to
wants
hug
a
any of the
hug.
Speedo guys?
Were
Well, there's
you
nothing
wearing
wrong
a
with that if you
Speedo?
like to do that. Did you have the Speedo on yesterday? Okay, all right.
Short
No.
shorts.
But there was really a cool event for the
Yeah.
beach. I mean, there was
Yeah.
30 teams. There was hundreds of people at Crescent,
Yep.
which is County Park, of course. I don't know if it would have worked with AstroTurf, but I guess we'll
Well,
find
we're
out
gonna
soon.
ask.
might have been a little hotter on the
Yeah.
Speedo. But
Yeah. So, I wanted to first ask
Yeah.
you, now that we get all the fun and excitement out of the way, about the FEMA letter that you got. Can you give us an update on what that meant? Like, There was Nathan did a story on the FEMA letter.
Well, essentially, the letter was the same that went out to all the municipalities. The town was on a call, obviously, with Dave Harner, with the county, and all the other municipalities and the town managers. And essentially, the verbiage was the same. It gives us until I think it's November 18th. There's a couple of things that they want cleaned up, but for now, it's gotten us through that October where we would have lost the
Discount.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's people are thinking, you know, after the election, they're maybe just pushing it off to see who gets elected, but yeah, who knows? But we've got till the 18th.
You mean locally elected or the president?
Yeah,
Okay, because
yeah.
something will change.
Could potentially,
Yeah,
who knows?
okay.
But it was just awkward or weird that November 18th was the random day
I
that
see.
was selected. So we, you know, it is what it is, but we feel, as we felt all along, we provided all the information, as well as the county and everybody else all feel the same way. We've provided the information that's been requested. We'll certainly give them anything else that they need or want. We've got all the documentation showing we did everything that we were supposed to do. That was put in place before the storm hit the island. Now things are starting to change, or they're re-looking at how they're going to do the flood insurance program, which is fine, and we'll adapt to that. But our argument has been, as well as everybody else around us, the argument has been we did exactly what was on the books and what we were required to do before the storm. We've proved that. We'll continue to show them, but we're just going to continue to work with them. And
Dan,
have
what is
dialogue.
your conclusion on why FEMA did this to everybody? Not
Well-
everybody, not Santa Mel and Fort Myers, but why do you think what's your
Well,
speculation about why they
my
did
personal speculation, this is just my speculation, it has nothing to do with anything but my thoughts. You know, they're $20 billion in debt, the National Flood Insurance Program. So
it? Uh-huh.
they're constantly getting bailed out by federal legislation to be able to fund this program. So there's obviously something wrong with it. I think they're looking at how they can change things, how they can do things. Some people are choosing to self-insure now, or some people are choosing to go a different route. But there's definitely a problem with the National Flood Insurance Program, and they're looking at it. What it's going to look like in the future, we're not sure, but we'll continue to do what we have to do. I mean, this town for a long time has worked very hard to get to that 5 rating, and just the thought of having to lose that completely overnight for something that took so long. And I know I compared it to like a credit score back in the day. It was like you've worked your whole life to get a perfect credit score, and you're 2 days late or something or potentially 2 days late on a payment, and now you go down to a 500. It's like taking everything away from you, and it's not fair. It's not a fair process.
The score or the rating is a 5, but it goes up to it's 1 to 10, right?
1 to 10, yeah.
I mean, is
I don't think there's a
anybody
0.
anybody got the highest rating, which actually
Not that I know of, at least in Southwest Florida. I think 5 is the best, and I think the county was at 5, or is at 5. And
I mean,
think
the
everybody-
amount of paperwork that and stuff you have to do just to get a 5.
Well, it takes a lot of staff work to be able to show the documentation. I mean, countless. I couldn't even tell you how many hours our staff worked to try to provide this, 5-foot high stack of paperwork just for 100 properties.
Dan, is that you guys good or okay? So the storm kind of, it's not really a storm, but what I wanted to ask you is how prepared do you feel you are for a hurricane? I mean, we're trying to get Andy to come on, and we invited Andy and Frankie. I know he's on vacation or wasn't available, but just to tell people how prepared the community is compared to the unprepared community we had 2 years ago. So how do you feel about it?
I think, we're as prepared as we can be. I don't know that anybody could be as prepared as they would have liked to have been when Ian hit. And I can't speak for the county, but I'm assuming that they would say that. I mean, you just can't prepare for that devastation. I think you learn from it, though, and you try to find small things that you could do.
More specifically,
Yeah.
sorry, I know you want to
Can I
participate.
ask-
Well, I'll forget, I'll forget.
I know,
'cause I'm
but you're
getting
going to
old.
ask my good question.
But you're older than I am, and your birthday's coming up on August 12th.
Thank you.
So is there a way to get people back on the island compared to, we spent some time together trying to get people back on the island that one day. Is there a process to get them back on? Because they're not going to leave if they can't get back on.
Yeah, so we put it out on the town's website. If you want to go see it, it's on the town's Facebook page. I shared it as well. It's a pretty good document. It doesn't go into specific details, but essentially it tells you they'll be set up at the Target on McGregor up here. Everybody knows where Target's at. They'll be set up there. We also have a couple places. They didn't put them out yet, but we're still working with Bonita to be able to cover things on the south end, depending on if a storm comes in. Our staff will work with Lee County Sheriff's Office at the base of the bridge to be able to allow people back on the island with your passes. And if you have the sticker or if you have, we encourage everybody to go get your hurricane passes.
They should have them by
which
now.
we had before the last storm, but for some reason it was never implemented. That parking pass thing was never
Right.
implemented. I mean,
Right.
but I mean, every one of our staff members were affected by the storm too, and they were busy doing everything else, so
Right,
they
right.
weren't able to go to the base of the
No,
bridge.
I didn't mean to make it sound like I was picking on the staff.
No,
They
I
were
know you're
just
not.
there was poor leadership. that
It
we
was
had
it was
back then.
well, it was chaos is
Yeah.
really what it was. And it's, Lee County Sheriff's Office, it's not their job to be checking, passes to come on the
Yeah.
island. That's something, if we're implementing that, we should be checking. Now they will be there to enforce it should there's anything that goes wrong. But they're busy doing everything else, search and rescue, trying to keep people
Right.
from looting. They're doing things like that. They can't sit there all day and just check people's IDs, so that you have to have a system in place where you're off island, you get all of that done. So when they get there, you can clearly see that they're supposed to be on the island, and then they can get back on. So that's the plan. Depending on the devastation will depend. A lot of it is dictated by the first responders.
Mhm.
If they say we need 12
Yeah.
hours, we got to give them 12 hours. If they say we need 24 hours, it just
Right.
depends on the devastation.
Somebody
Can
go
I
ahead. Go
now
right ahead.
ask-
But the point,
Yeah, I got so many questions.
Well, but I think the point in that is, even though the biggest thing that we had go wrong, in my opinion, was we were just letting everybody back on, and that was making it very difficult for the search and rescue.
Well, and
to do their job.
there was no communication with the community. That
Well,
was the
that's
biggest thing.
right. I mean, that goes without saying. But if you have a plan, and
It
I
went
think-
without
I think
saying,
the
that's
plan in
for
place
sure.
is now is you could still
Sorry.
get back on the island. You
Good
should
one.
still be able to get back on the island or be allowed back on the island, even though they're doing search and rescue. But the amount of people that would be on the island would be
Yeah.
far
And you
less.
should be allowed to
Mhm.
shoot looters. Just say it. You should
Well,
be. If somebody's in your
I think that
house
might
that
be a
doesn't
state
belong
of
in your
Florida
house, you should
thing.
be able to shoot them.
I think in the state of Florida, you have the right to defend your
Yeah,
property.
Right.
you do. So
Go ahead, ask a question, dear.
to your point
Get right,
about
come on.
not being, that you can't anticipate everything in advance. I think people know to get off and whatever. But what lessons have you learned in the aftermath that would, besides what you just mentioned, that you could, implement and get going a lot quicker?
Well, one of the things was, obviously we talk about communication, but communication is, us to the public, but internal communication,
Mhm.
our staff and our people being able to communicate with the county, Lee County Sheriff's Office, the fire district. And one of the biggest issues we had was all cell service was down. I mean, your
Right.
phone would die almost instantly because it's constantly looking for cell service. So we didn't have the radios in place at the time to be able to do that. We now have top of the line radios that we can communicate with Lee County Sheriff's Office or the fire district to be able to say, hey, we have an issue here, we have an issue here. So it's just an easier conversation than trying to pick up the phone and call or send text messages. So that was a big improvement. Obviously, we have meetings with the fire district all the time. We have meetings with the Lee County Sheriff's Office all the time. I know Andy and Frankie and their staff are talking with Benita and Sanibel all the time to make sure that we're all kind of in lockstep, so that when we're doing it's a cohesive unit with the county, so that when we say something and we do something, we're all moving in the same direction. It's not about who's doing something better or worse than the other person. We're all in the same boat. We're all moving in the same direction, so that we can get the best information out to people, so they know where to go when they need to go. They know how to get there, and they know how much time they have to get there.
It's a question from the audience, and
Sure.
it's not really related to the storm, but I like when people have questions from the audience. Any chance to make the EV chargers, Fort Myers Beach, may be in the parking new office? Okay, well, maybe you guys in Santini Plaza. I think
Well, we
it
had
doesn't make any sense.
well,
but
we
I
had
think,
approved some EV parking stations before the storm hit.
yeah, there was a couple over here.
There was going to be a couple in the town-owned lot here off
Yeah.
of San Carlos. I think there was going to be a couple at Town Hall. So they were going to be spread out in a couple different locations. I don't know. That contract may have expired.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
It wasn't a
find out
top
with Cheryl.
priority after the storm, but eventually it'll probably
No.
come back up.
Eventually it'll come back
Yeah.
up, but we've got so many other things ahead of that.
Yeah,
right
but you
now.
guys gave all those spots by Town Hall away to Myers side, so you won't have any left
we
for
didn't
EV
give
parking.
anything away to anybody.
I know, I'm just kidding. So you good, or can I
I'm
go?
good.
So
You sure?
yeah.
I'm good for now.
So yesterday I did a
ramping up.
walk around with Peter Albert from Coastal Vacation
Okay.
Properties on Carolina Avenue. He's building 4 new homes on the canal over there for it's a weekly vacation rental street. And he said to me that when those homes are built, he's going to be able to charge $25,000 a week. Have you heard that is going to be
I
what
have-
it's going to be like on the
it's-
beach after the storm?
Well, it's not my business, so I
mean,
that's what it's his business. To me, it's a lot, but if that's what you can get, that's what you can get.
wow. I mean, that would be great for the economy, right? To be able to have That's like
Well,
Greg
great for somebody's
Scasney money.
economy.
Great for somebody's
Great for
wallet.
somebody's economy. I mean, it was. I mean, it's business. You know, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
That's a lot of
And-
money, though.
And the thing that I've seen with short-term rentals is you can ask whatever you want,
Yeah.
but if you're sitting empty and everybody else is full, there's obviously a problem with your pricing. So you can adjust your pricing up and down. It's no different than like for us on golf carts. We can adjust our price up or down
Mhm.
depending on the season or offer discounts if we need to make sure we're filling up our product. But it's if they can get $25,000 in the back bay, who am I to say you can't? I don't know. It's someone's willing to pay it. Go.
So the beach renourishment project is underway.
It is underway. Yes. Yeah, obviously the storm is
Right. They're not working
couple
today.
issues, but
Did they have to pull any equipment out? I
I believe the
remember.
Coast Guard was in. They were having some issues with some of the lights on their vessels that Coast Guard stepped in. I just got that information yesterday. I don't know all the details on it, but it sounds like the Coast Guard is working with that now to make sure that they're
That
doing it.
company.
I would
Mhm.
think they probably would have pulled their barge in. I haven't gotten I haven't talked to Andy yet
Yeah.
this morning to find out if they pulled it in. At the end of the day, it's their, if they think they can handle these waves, it's on them. But they assured us when they came before us in council that they would do everything that they needed to do to make
Keep
sure everything
everyone
was
Yeah,
safe.
because there
Yeah.
was that big upheaval
Yeah,
about choosing
the
them.
barge
in
could do it or
in
not
the
do it.
barge. Yeah. So
Well, I would think that if you're a business owner like that, to protect your asset is probably and your
Right.
workers is probably more important than a little bit of time you'd lose bringing it in or out.
Mhm.
does that affect the timeline of when they need to be done?
No, they claim they're going to still stay on track. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
like anything else here in the winter or in the summer when it's raining. You got to work harder when it's not raining. When it's raining, there's
Mhm.
not a lot you can do. So, you just got to work around the schedule.
Okay. So
Make hay
you,
when the sun shines. That's what I grew up listening to that phrase.
I mean, but there's
Really?
only so
I've never
fast
heard
you
that
can
phrase
pump
before.
sand out, right?
so we have a town council meeting finally on Monday after you guys went into hibernation for a
Yeah.
whole month.
Well,
And
yeah, it was more than a month. Come on. I mean, if you're going to grill us, man,
it was 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And the LPA doesn't meet again until the 23rd of August. So you are going to buy the 7-Eleven property, or that's the plan. You made an offer of I think $1.7 million.
Yeah, it was listed for 2.5 million. We have to go out and get 2 appraisals. The appraisals came back. We offered 1.5. They turned that down, countered with 1.8. We countered 1.7, and we were so we're under contract with them. So we're in the due diligence process of that right now. You'll see on Monday it'll all get laid out. Joe will lay it all out how it's going to be paid for
Okay.
because the grant money that we're getting from the state, you have to outlay the capital before you get reimbursed for that. So Joe is with the audit that came through. It'll get all spelled out tomorrow, so I won't go into detail today. But the way it's going to work out, the town will fund that, but we'll get the money back as soon as we submit the receipt.
But you also will need money to work on that land because it's not park ready. You got to spend money to
Well, we
knock
haven't.
that.
So the biggest thing to understand is the $8 million, $7 million to go for the new property. We'll put the $1 million towards the new purchase of the 7-Eleven property, and then the rest will be covered by insurance proceeds from the old town hall that was destroyed.
Okay.
Wait, do that again.
Yeah. The
Do
part
the
that
math
I don't,
again.
the math that I'm good with math. The math
Yeah,
that I
right.
don't understand is the part where how are you going to pay for fixing the land? You have to make it a parking lot. So where's
Right.
that money coming from?
So there's 2 things that we're going to try to do with that property, and there's 2 things that you can do. Obviously, we need the parking for the new town hall property, but there's also a way that we can put in some storm drainage system for Bahia V and Curlew that are right there
Yeah.
to be able to try to catch some of that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the plans or the engineered drawings on that. I know they're working on it, but
On the 7-Eleven property.
right. So I mean, you can have
Okay.
you can have a drain catch basin underneath the parking lot to be able to help offset some of that, because those are low-lying streets. So that's the plan. We'll see where it goes. We haven't seen anything concrete on paper yet, but that's the idea of trying to help fix some of the drainage there, make sure we have the parking, so that becomes a viable solution for the town. We don't have to. I mean, it's made it through the storm.
And then how does that get paid for?
all
Was
that's
that your
getting
question?
so all of it's
No.
going to get paid for either through the grant or the insurance proceeds. It won't come out of the general fund.
So Dan, people need to realize that if you guys didn't, if the staff and the help from the state didn't figure this whole thing out with the money and that green building and the property next door, it could have been 5 more years before you actually had a town hall open.
Yeah, I would
And
say,
you'll be in there in January.
Yeah. So the story on that green building, when Keith and Chris were here, we knew we were going to have a place to set up. So that building was the first thing that popped in my mind, was that green building, because it survived the storm. So Keith and I went down there and looked at it. I should say Keith and Chris went down there originally and looked at it and started having contact with the owner. We all walked through it. We could tell the lower. So there was talk about buying it, but at the time it was like, where are we going to get the money to buy this property? we were going through the process with the state and the appropriations, but there were so many other things at that time that we had to worry about. We had to make sure the town could stay solvent, right? We had to make sure we had enough money in the bank to keep the lights on and the people working. So that was our job number one. But we were looking at that way back then, over a year ago, as a potential solution. The state pretty much clearly told us at the time that, this is not something we normally do. We're going to help you, but we can't help you in that way. So we had to let it kind of go on the back burner. So when Andy came aboard, we revisited it. I told Andy about it. Andy went down and looked at it. I thought the same thing. This is going to be a great solution. So we went through the appropriation process again. We were grateful that they gave us the money to be able to purchase the property. I mean, it's saving taxpayers. To build that building now is probably north of $20 million.
Yeah. So are you going to retail one of the floors, or are you going to use all three?
I don't know exactly what Andy's plan is or what the plan is for it yet. I know that the downstairs will be where the council chambers and everything is. So you could come in, there'll be reception, all that down there. The second floor will pretty much be where anybody that needs to interact with staff, whether it's public, whether it's anything that people need to go in for permits, anything like that, they will be able to do that on the second floor. And then the third floor is where the people will be that you don't need to interact with everyday finance.
Can you set up
like
in the
So there
council?
won't be room for.
But there's
okay.
going to be a room on the second floor. It used to be the salon, I believe. Estrelita.
I've never been in that building.
On the second floor. Have you ever been in the building?
Can you set up a
on the
special
north-hand side?
Can you set up a special media table for me, a yellow table that
There's
we
one
can
of those
so I
already
can come
in
and
there.
So
So
we'll-
on the third floor, there's another room above that's kind of a
the attic.
no. So on the third floor, when you get off the elevator and you go to the right, there's another room that's already set up that will stay kind of as a place where if the council members have to meet with somebody, whether it's a homeowner, beach truck or whatever. So there's a place already set up in there that we could do.
Do you have a working elevator?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. But it's,
Because
obviously
the
we'll have to have
library
them-
doesn't have one either.
My understanding is we're set to close on the 16th of this month on that property. So as soon as we can get that closed, we're gonna get to work because the lower level still needs to be built out.
Okay.
And
All right.
once that's done, will that be a place then you can have like a command center in the event of another storm?
we're looking
to a
at-
certain degree. I mean,
Well, we're obviously we know the building's pretty strong. It made it through that
Yeah, it
hurricane.
looks
right?
great.
So we're looking at potentially putting if we can do it through FEMA mitigation funding, trying to harden that structure on the top. So if we have a storm, we can have a rooftop generator. We can have things like that keep power to the building to be able to,
and a communication
like a mini
center.
EOC
Yeah.
type of thing. But we always have the EOC up and up,
So,
up in the.
A couple of rapid fire questions before we
Right.
let you roll. Why can't the post
that's
office
right.
turn their lights off? Did you see how bright those lights
I
are?
did not know.
Holy moly. I mean, have you guys seen how bright those lights are at
No.
night? They're in violation of the turtle ordinance from the other side, from the end of Carolina Street.
I have not.
That's why can't they just turn the lights off at night? I mean,
Maybe
or when
they
they
don't
leave.
know.
The post, it's a government office. They probably leave at 3.
I've never
Just
had a
never
post
turn
office
them on.
box, but if I remember, they have post office boxes inside that front door.
It's
Maybe they have to
crazy.
have lights on in there for
It's
people to
crazy.
get in and out. to get
So
around.
have you heard from London Bay at all about what they're going to do with the canal? Do you have
I
any
have-
new information
I
on
have
what
not.
Mark's going to do
Nope.
with that canal?
I had a conversation with Mark after our last meeting. He was going on holiday, and obviously we were going to be gone. And he just said that they're planning on coming in August or September with their thing, but there was no discussion about what their plans are with the other side of the road.
What did you think of the new arches? Did we already talk about this last weekend?
We
I
did.
totally
Yeah,
forgot.
I mean, they
totally forgot that we brought
did.
that up.
No, we
yeah.
talked about it. I
All
think
right,
at the
so we'll-
beginning of last.
we can
Is there
skip
anything new you would like
Not
to
that
talk about?
No, I think it's. I mean, once they've submitted, we'll take a
Now,
look at it.
we know that Seagate is buying the Gulf View colony next door, and they're coming up soon. They're going to have a public meeting at the Pink Shell on the 13th, where they're going to show off the. What do you think of the whole red coconut Seagate proposal? Do you like it? Would you vote yes for it
I
today?
think it's important to remember those are two different strap numbers, right? So it's two separate projects. So whatever they're
They wanna keep
it's
it that
it's
way.
a different,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they would want to keep it that way, but it's one property has nothing to do with the other property. and
Right.
the
I didn't
proposals.
mean to tie them together, but
Can
what do
I
you-
ask, because I don't want to interrupt him. I
No,
don't mind
that's-
interrupting you, but the Seagate property, where
Mm-hmm.
the red coconut property had some specific zoning that was just specific to it.
Right.
That does not extend to the new property that they got, or does it?
I think it's all
No,
the same, right?
It's all the same?
It's all the same. Well, no, I don't know if it extends to that. I'd have to go back and look. I can't say
Okay.
honestly if I know that answer. With the new property that they are under contract with or purchase, whatever it is, I don't know if that's the same zoning or not. I would have to go back
Okay.
and look, but it's
Okay.
in that same area. So you would assume it's kind of the same area, but
Yeah.
it's not the same property as what they already
Right.
own. It's completely
Okay.
separate.
But you like the proposal, right? Because it's under the.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's really important to me, and I've said it. Right now, when you drive down Estero Boulevard, what you're seeing is something you haven't seen since probably the 50s or 60s. Now, I wasn't here, obviously, but when you talk to people that were here in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they could see the beach.
Yep.
And as every year passes, as every month goes by, you're going to see less and less and less and less in that. I mean, when you drive down the boulevard now, I don't know if there's many places where the road is closer to the Gulf of Mexico
I
than
know.
it is on this island.
Yep.
So you're getting to see something that you're never going to get to see again. So be able to preserve as much of that as we possibly can. I know some people think it's not a big deal. To me, it's a big deal
Yeah.
because everybody that's ever driven down Bonita Beach Road and sees those houses, you can't even tell the
Right.
Gulf of Mexico.
You
is
get
there.
no sense
You-
what's on the other
there's
side.
no depth, there's no
Mm-mm.
nothing. So to be able, even if it's 5 or 10 feet per building, because before the storm we did that wedding cake, if you will.
Right.
So if you want extra height, you just come in a little bit more, so you got bigger side setbacks to allow that bigger view corridor. I think things like that will help preserve it, so we're not looking like what they are now. People could still come in and ask for anything they want to ask for, but to be able to do that by right, you could go up an extra few feet by coming in an extra few feet. And it was done so that people, because there are people out there that can come 2-3 properties in a row and build, they could build something pretty massive if they wanted to. But the wider your lot, the bigger your setback is from the base in the beginning.
And Seagate's giving you a pretty good view of the beach.
I don't know the exact, I think it's 250 feet or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's an important public benefit, just to be able to, we've all sat in traffic, right? And
Yeah.
even though you're sitting in traffic, to be able to watch the beach
Yep.
and see, sometimes you get to see the sunset depending on what time of day you're leaving. To me, that's a quality of life thing. That's something that helps you. I mean, I've been in traffic many times and been able to look at the sunset and not have to get out of my car when I'm trying to leave the island. And you're like,
Thank you.
it just resets you, right? You're like,
Right.
okay, it's a new day. We're going to start again. So there's some obviously good things about their proposal. There's some things that people are obviously, the height is
Yeah.
a thing that people are not happy about. But I think Seagate has gone about it, in my opinion, the right. One of the people that have done it in the right way. They've asked a lot of questions. They've gone through staff. They've got zoning verification letters. They're going to have their public meeting, and I'm sure they're going to get all kinds of input from people there. So what was the date again? I'm sorry, I don't remember what the date was. You said
I think
it was,
it's the 13th at Pink Shell.
I encourage everybody to go down there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll probably have something virtual so people can.
Yes, we'll be
because
broadcasting it live
public
too.
input.
And, yeah.
And for me, it's going to be interesting to hear what the people that you don't hear from all the time
Right.
say.
Yeah.
What they like, what they don't like. It's a unique piece of property. It's the biggest one I think on the island. It's going to be developed, so it's going to take some vision. It's going to take some compromise, I think, on both sides, and we'll see if it gets built or if it doesn't.
All right, Dan, we're gonna let you
Okay.
roll so
All right.
that
Thanks, guys.
we can get Mike on after I read a couple of quick ads. And thank you, Dan. Big hand for the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, Dan Allers, and Dan, thank you, John King, for updating me. It's the 14th at the Pink Shell, not the 13th. And Danny, I'm gonna save that information about after the show until later on. But first, I want to tell you about our couple sponsors that we have, including Tony Bone Painting. You saw Tony on the show last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago, and you definitely want to call Tony if you feel like the contractor that you're using, he's more than painting. If the contractor that you're using is screwing up your house and there's backward screws coming out and drywall falling down, he's going to fix it for you. Tony's been part of this community. He helped with Bayside Park. He helped with the wavy wall. You've probably seen him around. That's volunteering his time. He's been in business since 1994, and he comes from a family of painters. His father and his uncle, his brother, his cousins. He's a repaint specialist. Give Tony Bone a call right now on his cell phone, 239-410-7083. 239-410-7083. Ladies and gentlemen, your Lee County Commissioner, Mike Greenwell. Big hand for Mike, please. What? It's fine. Whatever you got, I'll make sure that I monitor it. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here.
All right. Last time that you were on the show was at Pete's Timeout, or at least when Pete's Timeout was still standing.
Yeah.
And the devastation has totally destroyed Pete's Timeout. But here you are running for the seat that the governor appointed you to. Why did you decide that you wanted to run?
Well, I think that right away after I
Perfect.
closer. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Right away after I was appointed by the governor, we had a hurricane. So took really over a year to kind of get settled into being a commissioner. Just we were so busy with so many things going on throughout the county. So I just feel like I was able to start a lot of things that I want to finish. A 2-year term is just not long enough to complete really anything. And I've got some things started I want to see completed, and I think we've gone in a good direction. And we've learned a lot from the storm, and we caught a break with this one, and we're pretty happy about that.
What are some of the things that you would like, if you were elected, to see?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is roads. There was a road that was being designed that's going to go from Alico all the way up to State Road 80, which would help tie the north end of Lee County to the south end of Lee County. And that road had slipped down to 20 years away. And I was able to push really hard over the last year. And we've been able to move that road up to what we call Tier 2, which it's the #1 road in Tier 2. So it's one of the next roads to get funded. And that's a game changer for Lee County. It's a game changer for traffic on I-75. It kind of splits our county, splits Lehigh, which will help Lehigh tremendously bring businesses in there. It will help with the traffic on State Road 80 and traffic on I-75, traffic on Alico. It's just a game changer for Lee County.
One of the flyers I think I got in the mail was your focus on traffic.
Yeah.
How do you fix the traffic coming to Fort Myers Beach?
Well, that's going to be a tough one because we got that single bridge, that's coming over here. And, I don't know if we're ever going to be able to solve it completely. But, it's something that we'll work with Fort Myers any way we can, Fort Myers Beach Council any way we can to try to improve anything we can out here. Just like that pier. I think that's one of the things that
don't jump ahead on the pier. Let's
I know it's one of those things that we're proud of. Yep. So
proud of. I'll be dead by the time that thing gets built.
Well,
man.
not
What
really.
the hell?
Come
on, man.
Sometimes it takes a little political clout to get some things moved up. And
you built a bridge in 3 days to Sanibel. It takes 10 years to build a pier.
Right. But you got to get rid of what the rules and regulations and the bureaucrats, and that's what we're going to try to do on that pier.
So you guys approved, the county approved a major resort on Main Street that is going to be built down there. That's really going to hurt the traffic even more. I mean, it's
yeah. And unfortunately, that's one of the things that we can't make a decision on a building or a project. We can't wait. Traffic has no weight to it. We can't make a decision on that. And that's pretty much etched in stone. So what we need to do is what I'm trying to do is to get that road from 80 up to or down to Alico to be funded by the state. If that can happen, all that money that we would be spending on that road, we can finally spend on widening these roads and catching them up. And that's why it's a game changer.
So I go to the gym on Colonial and
you got to bring
6
that
Mile.
up.
No, but that Divergent Diamond is a cluster F, man. What the hell?
People have been saying it.
I mean, is that ever going to?
It is going to get better from what people because that's what I said. And somebody said, no, we had one in wherever they were from. And they said it worked.
Is that a state project or a county project?
Well, that's a state project.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, have you tried to drive in that
Have you
spot?
driven in it?
Yes. And I think truthfully, it's sort of like our roundabouts. Once people learn it and learn how to utilize it, I do think it's going to help. Same thing with roundabouts. Being fortunate enough to be all over the country over the years when I was playing baseball, I've been on a lot of roundabouts and they move a lot of traffic. Ours don't move much traffic because everybody runs up there and stops. And I think the more people get used to that, the better that.
But part of the problem I think is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is there's so much development in that spot. It's like they keep putting retail in that one spot. Yeah. There's nowhere to park, and people are, lunchtime, forget about it. I mean, that one area, it just seems like it's never stopping in that area.
Yeah, I mean, we're growing, and a lot of people say, what are we going to do about development? And I say, I don't know. I don't have a gate. We have no gate to close. They just keep coming.
Yeah.
And we live in paradise, and people want to be a part of our paradise. So it's a little frustrating, but we just have to keep our nose to the ground and just keep on working and trying to make things better. And one way to do that is plan these roads. It's one thing to plan a road. It's another thing to get that road started. You can't complete a road until you get it started. And that's what I'm trying to do is make people realize we need to get these things started. Quit planning them. Let's get them started.
Well, when you say there's no, you can't deny it on traffic alone. Mm-hmm. But there are other things that can be done to kind of slow it down or mitigate more of the impact that some of these developments put in there? Why aren't those things more readily pursued?
Well, there are very few of those things. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but when a developer brings something to Lee County,
Mhm.
it goes through a process, a long process, and it's a process that I don't think many people know about or really have ever been through. But those processes take 2 or 3 years, and there's a difference between bringing something to the Board of County Commissioners for a vote. We have more leeway during those meetings to do things. But when it comes to a zoning meeting, that's a legal process. Those folks have gone through a process that they've had environmental studies done, traffic studies done, pretty much every study you can think of.
Why would they do a traffic study if that doesn't matter?
Well, but as long as they pass that traffic study, we can't say no because
But they wouldn't not pass it if it's not an issue. I guess that's my question. When you were saying that you can't deny on traffic.
Well, you can't. The point being is you're saying it's a process and the whole process. So by the time a development comes, they meet all the criteria. Now that criteria is not voted on or judged by me. That's done by this. A lot of it's done by the state. So they meet the setbacks. They meet the water. They got to retain their own water. They got to meet the environmental. They got to meet the traffic. They got to meet everything. Once it gets to us, it's gone through staff, which is a staff of lawyers. It's gone through the LPA. The LPA is a board that is not a binding board, but they most of the time vote with the staff, not always. But again, they're not binding. Then you have a hearing examiner. And when it goes to that hearing examiner and they recommend approval, then it comes to the county commission. And many, many times I've said, do I have any legal reason that I can vote no? Because I have to have a legal reason. And if it's
so why have a county commission?
Right.
Just let the staff
well,
do it.
It is basically we're there to make the last stamp of the vote, I guess, right? I agree. But that is the process. We don't have to like the process, but that is 100% the process.
So when people come and they're making their objections, I'm just trying to go through this. So when people come and they're making their so
at the county level anyway, where can they make their objection?
Go to make their objections?
Well, they need to be involved early.
So how would they know though?
It's posted online. They need to be more involved on the county websites, and it's posted online. So when that's going in front of the hearing examiner, when it's going in front of the LPA board and those things, you need to be involved by then. When you get involved at the end, it's
too late.
It's too late, and that's just being honest. And I'm going to give you some examples.
Okay.
All right. Between 15 and 20 years ago, Lee County had over $300 million lawsuits against Lee County.
You're talking about Bert Harris lawsuits.
Exactly, for taking property rights away. And no one has ever been able to beat that since the Bert Harris law, right? So we know as a county commission, if I turn that project down and 2 commissioners join in with me and we turn it down, we are going to spend your tax dollars giving those folks millions of dollars, and then they're going to take us to court and they're going to get it anyway. So it's just
not 100% guaranteed, but you're saying that that's the way it leans.
It's about 99%, and I refuse.
In the past, you've lost
millions
all of the
and
cases.
millions of everyone.
So
all the cases have been lost.
Yes.
So can the county
Maybe need different lawyers?
Can the county incorporate some zoning regulations where it's not so easy to get?
It needs to be done at the state level.
State level.
The state
What
level.
about the comp plan?
Again, when we change the comp plan, it goes to the state for approval.
Right. But you can change your comp plan if you wanted to.
We can,
but you don't want to. You like the development.
Well, I don't.
Honestly, not you, but the county does.
Well, I think the bottom line is this: we have a county that how are we going to survive? Most of our industry is in the construction and building industry, the real estate industry. So it's a tough position to be in because we're growing. And look, I grew up here my whole life. My wife was born right there in Lee Memorial Hospital. We were overwhelmed when we actually came home for good. We always came home every year, but when we came home for good after I retired from baseball and drove around, we couldn't believe the growth. It was unbelievable, and it hasn't stopped.
And people are coming; they're not going to stop.
So there's no real recourse to pump the brakes on development if that was the will of the county commissioners. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but there is
What do you think the will is?
I think the will is, well, I think the will is to try to change it in a way that it's better for our community and better for the environment. So I'll give you an example. You know, if you have 100 acres, I think this is the best way to explain it. And I tell people this all the time. If you have 100 acres and it's zoned 1-to-1, that means you could build 100 homes on that 100 acres. Okay, so we've tried to get people in these developments to kind of work with us in this way. How about you build on 65 acres and you leave 35 acres natural? And for that, we'll let you build 70 homes or 75 homes. We'll give you a few extra homes, but you build it on less land. And a lot of developers are doing that now. And that's what we need to do. We need to save as much land as we can. And that's one way to do it.
So that would be saving land, but allowing increased density. Is that the, okay.
That is the trade-off.
The trade-off.
That is absolutely the trade-off.
So do you think you made the right vote on South Seas?
I made the vote that was equal all the way across the county. In other words, I think what we did was try to make it the same throughout the county.
But Mike, when you hear the pushback from that community, how could you vote yes on that?
Because it's treating everyone equal. And just because your land's worth more money or you have more money, I'm treating everyone throughout the county the same. And I think that's the way politics
But it's not the same. But it's really not the same.
It's absolutely the same.
But you have the community that's telling you no. I mean, clearly that community is telling you no. And so why vote yes on that? I mean,
because
that's
it's
the thing
treating them the same as everyone
why
else.
is Kevin voting no?
Kevin has that choice.
Right. But he feels like he's defending the community over there because there's clearly a developer versus the residential area. So that's the thing. That one thing really confuses me. It totally confuses me.
Well, it doesn't confuse me because it's like I said, I voted the fact that we're going to treat everyone the same.
But don't you take it? But that's not
you
the way
don't think each situation is requires some second level of sort of looking at, like, consideration, the fact that it's one lane off. I mean, and I know I hope we're not going to get back to the traffic example, because it's one thing to say, well, there's too much traffic. It's another thing to say there's a storm coming and now safety of people's lives is tangled in with that traffic. So it doesn't become very convenient to couple that together.
Well, I don't know quite your question about that. Is it because
case by case? Case by case.
Yeah.
Instead of everybody's the
case
same.
by case, because the traffic situation doesn't hold water for me when it's the safety of people getting off on evacuation.
Because every decision would become a lawsuit.
Really?
Every decision, absolutely. If one person gets one thing and one doesn't get it, they're automatic lawsuits.
Wouldn't you want to be on the side of defending the people that are against a project like that, as opposed? I mean, if you're going to get sued, you're going to get sued. People are going to sue no matter what.
Right.
But you're on the side of the people rather than one hotel.
Well, we also have to make decisions on how that also brings people to Lee County. Our tourism is a huge part of what we do. Just like, and I'm going to bring it up again, just like we decided to use that bed tax money and build a 1,000-foot pier here on the beach.
Right.
Some people would say, well, what do we need a 1,000-foot pier for?
That's a good question.
Right. But the reality of it is it brings more people to Fort Myers Beach, which helps our tourism, which is a huge part of our economy. So if a company like that wants to build out there, they deserve to have the same rights as everyone else in Lee County.
Okay.
And that's what we did. And I don't believe in picking winners or losers. And anyone that tells you running for office that they're going to stop a project, they're lying to you, because they cannot.
You want to be more specific, or you just want to lay that out there?
Well, I just think when people are running for offices and they're saying they're going to stop this or going to do that, they're bound by the same rules as we all are.
So you're saying your opponent has said that Amanda
Absolutely.
has said that she's going to stop what project?
Projects out by us, out by our area. Yeah. And then, like I said, there's no gate, and everybody has the same property rights, and they're going to continue to grow whether we like it or not.
What's the feedback in your community? Go ahead.
I would like to make one more point about that. Is it's easy to be in office and make, kind of work the system. I don't believe in working the system. I'm a very honest, straightforward person, and I believe I'm going to tell you the truth every time. And when I say I voted on that one particular
Mhm.
issue, because I believe everyone is equal, and I believe my vote was very simple. I'm treating them the same I would treat someone in my area or someone in Cape Coral or someone on Fort Myers Beach. They all deserve to be treated equal.
Okay, so it sounds like that's a yes vote across the board, no matter what the issues are.
No.
Well, then how but you're treating everybody equal.
Because you're talking about two different things.
Okay.
All right. We have Board of County Commissioners.
Yes.
And we have more leeway the things that we can do and decide and how we do. We're referring to projects that have gone through a legal process, or treating everyone the same as saying the height restrictions are this, unless you get special exemptions. Now, can I vote no on a special exemption on height? Yes. Was that what we were voting on?
No.
No, it was not.
So
there's still a vote to come on that, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So let's don't mislead people and
Right.
say that I've made a decision that they're going to build this high, because I have not.
So you basically have attorneys telling you can't vote no on this.
No, not on that.
Okay.
On the change in the
What we did was we treated the heights the same for everybody, right? That project has
Mike,
still,
let's rewind for a little bit.
Yes.
There was an agreement between the Captiva Association and the county that said they were never going to go above 37 feet or whatever the number was, 70. I don't remember what the number was. And the county basically said, that's a dumbass agreement. We never should have signed it because they're not really an association, right? I mean, and so you went up.
See, you're putting two things together.
Okay.
Okay.
Help me out here.
We said countywide, these are the heights. Period. Right? Unless you get a special exemption. They have not received any special exemption. They still have to go in front of the board, and I've not even seen the project. You're asking, I can't tell you how I'm going to vote on a project because I haven't seen it.
But you know they're going higher.
Anyway.
If they went higher, would you vote yes or no? If they went above the Captiva Association, why can't you?
Because if I did, I'd have to recuse myself from a vote, wouldn't I?
Okay.
And my vote might matter.
I'm sure it will matter.
Right. See, so we try not to talk about projects that are coming in front of us.
Right.
But I can tell you that project has not come in front of us.
All right, fair enough.
And I have not voted the way you're implying that I've allowed that big hike to go on, because that is not what we voted.
But it's kind of the feeling from the people
you're
out
biting
there.
into what's being said,
But
not what's being done.
Well,
I'm just telling you.
That's the county's PR problem, not mine. I
Well,
mean,
we do have a problem there. I'll give you that.
And you guys have said that publicly. It's not
Yes.
something I just made
No,
up.
it's absolutely a problem.
And so, but the people out there are feeling like you're getting in that mode to say it's going to be higher. That's what they say out there is SEC. I mean, they're good at their PR.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
They're honest people. I mean, they're great
Absolutely.
people, and they feel like
Absolutely.
the county's going down the road where it's going to be higher.
But again, they're misleading everyone. They're misleading everyone by saying that's what we voted on, and it was not what we voted on.
Right. No, I
Right?
think they feel like it's going down that road.
I understand. But even in our conversation today, you say, oh, we voted on that to allow them to build higher. No, we did not. We have not voted on that.
Okay, fair enough. Most people feel like it's going to be higher, but
Now,
I guess we'll see when the vote comes up.
absolutely. But
So-
you see my point. I'm not being
Right, you're not
combative.
no,
I want you to know
no.
that we have not voted on what they're saying we voted on. And
So-
that's misleading the people, and that's what they've done, and that's unfortunate.
Go ahead.
when you're talking about bringing, here we go, Kelly, the traffic.
The
When you're
traffic alone,
talking,
dear.
well, no, but when you're talking about building a bigger pier, which however you feel about that, you feel about it,
Mhm.
and that's going to bring more people down. I mean, what do you do? What
It's
is
already
it- is
backed
it-
up to
So
Walmart.
say it's backed up for days. I mean, say it gets so bad that it's just backed up all the time. At what point is it like
Okay, so what you're saying is, I guess, or
can
you're
you
asking,
bring another bridge over? Could the state
sure
do
we-
that?
I'm sure we could.
Maybe you could put
Could it
tolls
be
on the
done in the
bridges.
future? Yeah, I mean, could it be done? Sure, but
So another bridge to Fort Myers Beach.
let me ask you this question: Would
Okay.
you?
Wait, she's not running for office, Mike.
Well, I know, but she's applying this, so I have to ask you this question. Are
Well,
we
and
going
I
to?
don't
Are we
live
going
here,
to
Let him
rebuild?
ask her the question.
Are we going to help Fort Myers Beach rebuild? Is the county going to help Fort Myers Beach rebuild? What do you think?
Yes.
for sure.
Absolutely,
For sure.
we are. So we have opportunity as Fort Myers Beach rebuilds to assist them in any way we can to make it better for them, because everybody out here has taken the big losses over the few years. So if we can do something special with the bed tax money and build them a pier that will draw new people to this area, that's what we should do, and that's what we do.
Well,
and that's what we do.
I don't care how long the pier is going to be. I just want. I just don't understand why it's going to take 5 freaking years.
I know, but I'm not saying that the pier shouldn't be built because of traffic. I'm just saying.
I will challenge you to say it will not take 5 years.
I hope you're right, man. Well, you're in a better position than
because obviously you know we will talk to our senators, and I already have, and that's how we can actually do things maybe a little bit more than the council here at Fort Myers Beach can do. Sure. Is if you have some people that have the ability to speak with the state folks and see if they will work with us, and they have said yes.
And to
so
be
I
fair,
do believe we can speed that.
And to be fair, the entire county board was like, "This is ridiculous. That it's going to take 5 years." I mean, you all thought it was crazy that it takes that long.
We all feel that way. Yeah. So we are 100% trying to do everything we can to speed all of this process up, to help us rebuild back, completely. Yeah. And just like the FEMA argument, I'm the chairman of the board, so I was the one at all the meetings. I was the one on all the phone calls with Senator Scott in FEMA. And I think between what all the municipalities have done and what the Lee County has done, I think we've done a very, very good job showing them what we've done. And I believe we're going to win that.
Well, what is
it's just one man.
Like I asked the mayor earlier, what is your perception of why they did what they did to these people that got hammered by this storm?
It's unfortunately it's politics.
Why is it politics?
Well, it's politics because we're obviously a very red area. And I believe it became politics. I don't know any other reason why they would do what they did. Some of the things they asked was pretty much, we can't throw, what are we going to do? Go in and throw people out of their houses?
Mm-hmm. It was crazy. Exactly. I mean, so what you're saying, it was the national, I don't want to get in, people that watch our page get freaked out whenever we say anything about national politics. Mm-hmm. You think it was the federal government coming down on the DeSantis government because there's some kind of animosity between them? Is that what you're saying? But
not Sanibel.
Yeah, why not Sanibel?
Are you saying they're blue?
Why not Fort Myers?
Maybe they're more connected.
Okay. So but you feel confident that everything will be cool with the 5
I'm pretty
municipalities.
confident. I think it's trending in that direction.
So
and I'm happy about that.
What is how do you feel your relationship is with your community out there in Alva and Buckingham? I mean, do you feel like the people are behind you or not? I mean, let me be more specific. Amanda said that if there was single member district, she would win in a landslide.
Well, we're going to find out when the vote, won't we?
I'm going to say
we'll find out on the vote, right?
Yes,
because the reality is this: there's a lot of people out there respect of what I'm doing and how I'm telling them the truth. The things that I've done at Lee County Civic Center. Right away that same group was yelling, "He's selling it to Sid Kitson."
He's what?
That we were selling the Civic Center to Sid Kitson. That
I don't know who Sid is.
That's never come out of my mouth. The bottom line is, I've always said it was going to stay in the county's hands, and we were going to build something special for Lee County. We're going to continue to have a 4-H program. Mm-hmm. We're going to build the 4-H program in new buildings. No matter how much I said that, people said that I was doing it to make some kind of deal for myself, which was absolutely a lie. And sometimes the only way to defend a lie is to prove everybody wrong. And that's what I expect. I am going to do. I'm going to prove everybody wrong.
So how do you feel like your relationship is with the residents in Alva and Buckingham out there?
I have many friends out there. And I'll make you a point that I said the other day at a meeting. I'm not going to put a bunch of signs up out there. You know why? Because I'm not going to divide my neighborhood. I have as many friends out there. I probably have more, if the truth be known, than maybe my opponent does. But I'm not going to do that to my friends and the businesses out there by trying to divide people. And that's what they've done, and that's unfortunate. I just don't have a lot of respect for that. You don't see my signs piled up out there because I believe it hurts our community. And I'm just not going to do it.
So do you feel like your business is far enough away from the county to be comfortable? Like there's some land stuff going on out there that your sons are involved in the business.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Please.
Absolutely. I said, I try to tell people, I don't
approved and that 1.5 mile stretch. That 1.5 mile stretch is exactly 1/3 of a mile from my property, my family property, by the way. My children live there, my grandchildren live there, and of course we live there. We thought we would live on the edge of town forever. Unfortunately, a city came, or a new town's coming. It's going to be a city, right? We are the family that's being impacted most because they are taking 16 to 17 acres of our property. They being the state.
The state's taking a property.
Absolutely. And
To widen the road?
to widen the road. And actually to build a new road. The road that's there in that area is going to be an auxiliary road for people across the street because there's a gas line and the gas line refuses to be in the media. So it's all coming on the east side of the road.
So back to the question once, do you feel like you had to recuse yourself once? I don't even remember why. I just remember you going to the back room there. Do you feel like your business is far enough away from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely. Because I do not, here's the thing that really bothers me about what's being said out in my area. I don't sell land.
Okay. But you are a developer out there.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not.
I am not.
Okay.
I've never been a developer.
Okay.
That just got said by
Oh.
people. I am a builder. My family has been building homes and businesses in this town since 1969. But we are not a developer. We do not develop other people's property. We develop our own property. So the people that are out there selling the land might be my opponent. You're actually selling out the area, not me. I have one piece of property on State Road 31 that is being taken.
Part of it for a state road. So do I want to live on a 6-lane highway? Absolutely not. And I won't.
So you're moving your house back? Is that what you're saying?
We will have to move either farther back or we will be moving somewhere else in the area.
And then what's going to go on your property?
I'm sure it's ultimately going to be commercial businesses.
And they eminent domained your property.
Not yet.
Oh, but their plan is to.
The process is coming, yeah.
And that means they have to offer you whatever the property is
fair market value.
Yeah. So are there any other attacks that are coming your way that you want to address and just put them to rest?
I just think anytime if you're running for a position in this county and you're considered a Republican, then you should always show the same respect for any other Republican that you're running against. You've not seen me post one negative thing about my opponent.
But she says you have said negative things to her. Is that true or false?
To who? Her?
To her, yeah.
Well, we
and
can
her
have
family or something.
No,
nothing like that.
Not true.
Okay.
But either way, I don't do it publicly. I don't post anything. My family doesn't do that. We believe that if you want to argue over the issues or debate the issues, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But to go after my family and say negative things about my children is, as
see
far
any
as
of
I'm
that.
concerned, is
below the belt.
Is below the belt, and it's uncalled for. And
What did they
I don't
say
have
about
any
your
respect
children?
for
What
it.
was I missed that?
I would just like you to reiterate what you said about showing mutual respect, because I think that needs to go out.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I don't think you're talking about it.
No,
You're talking about
I'm
generally.
not. I'm not. I'm talking about in general what you said
Yeah,
about.
I think it's politics. That's what's wrong. Wrong with politics. I think
For sure.
is that you can disagree with my vote, and we can argue whether I'm doing what's right or wrong. I can handle all of that. We all should. We all have to understand that we make tough decisions. To be a county commissioner, you are going to make some tough decisions. You're gonna. But I believe those decisions should be made for the majority, not the minority. That's how I weigh all my decisions. So that being said, I don't need to belittle or come after anyone else that might want to run against me. If you choose to do that, then that is your opportunity. But don't tell people you can do things you cannot do.
What do you mean?
When you say
Be
you're going
specific.
to, yes, when you say
But I
If
don't
you
think
were
we have.
voting on it, what would you vote?
I would vote no.
Okay.
Why?
Because you just said, what about
helping the Fort Myers Beach and get another bridge out here, or make decisions throughout the county. I think if you're going to run in this position, you should have the knowledge of the whole county, not just your area, because all those decisions made at that county commissioner meetings are for the whole county, not just one part of the county. And I think that just having it in your district, we're going to start showing favoritism to one district. And let's face it, if you live in Lehigh, or you live in Alva, or you live in North Fort Myers, the tax dollars brought in those areas are not close to what's brought in District 1.
Yeah.
Or just, you know what I'm saying? So you don't want
You
that
feel like they'll
favoritism.
get disenfranchised?
That's my concern.
Here's-
I feel like every district should be
Let me
represented by five people, not
let me
one.
counter argue you, and you tell me what I
But do
think.
you
Absolutely.
think 5 is enough?
When you're a million
it's
people.
a million people.
I don't know. Is 10 enough? Is 3 enough? 5? I don't know the answer to that. I mean,
Fair
right
enough.
Well,
now,
I'm just asking you
well-
if you think 5 is enough.
I do, because you have 5. It's hard to get 5 people to agree on anything. Would you agree with that?
You
It's
guys
so-
agree on everything, though.
Well, that's not true.
Well, not everything,
man.
no.
Well, that's not true.
When has it ever been a 3-2 vote without
I've
Frank
had-
Mann
I've had-
around?
I've been plenty of 3-2
Oh,
votes.
I must have missed that.
And
You
it
must
was
have missed them,
3-1
because I've been
recently.
I've been the middle vote many times since
Yeah.
I've been a commissioner.
So let me ask you this: single member district is what we were talking about when the sound crapped out, folks. I'm sorry that we have a big audience watching, but the storm keeps kicking the sound off, so I'll watch closer. But I love Cecil; he's our representative out in Gateway, but he can't. You got term limits at the county; you can't be there forever. And I just think that at some point, I would like to be able to beat the machine. Like somebody should be able to beat the machine. Honestly, the Republican Party in Lee County is strong. You have a candidate that gets in that machine, they're not going to lose. Like that's just the way it is. I mean, you can argue with me about that, but then no Democrat is ever going to be elected to Lee County Board. I have no issues with that right now, but there's really no disagreement. Frank Mann needed to become a Republican to get on the board.
Well, there's different theories of that, right? Frank voted no a lot. They used to joke around and calling 4-1 Frank. The reality of it is, though, what did Frank actually stop?
Nothing.
Right. So what you need is people working together to try to make the right decisions for the majority. Right, for the majority of people. And my concern about having one individual still would not make I think the misconception is just because you have single districts that one person would make every decision in that district.
I don't
and
think
it's
that's
not
a misconception.
That way.
I think
it would still be voted on the same way.
But I also think
I think people feel like they would have one person is really going to be beholden to them and really concerned about their issues.
Yes.
And it's going to be more local versus I think people understand it still has to go to a vote of 5.
Yeah,
and
maybe that one person can flip a vote or flip 2 votes. I just feel
but it's the same scenario now. See, that's what same scenario now.
Mike, come on. There's not a lot of debate.
Wait a minute. When the Civic Center
right,
was voted on to allow them to run out their contract, and we were going to take it back over, it was a 3-2 vote.
Yeah.
Right. So I was the deciding vote on that.
Okay.
I'm very proud of that vote because I know what we did was right for Lee County, and we're going to build something special for Lee County, and our children will get to graduate again at the Lee County Civic Center again. They haven't been able to do it for years.
I know this isn't a beach issue, but what is your vision of the Civic Center?
My vision of the Civic Center is to build something out there, and we have already voted 5-0. It's being studied now. We have a budget coming in this year to start the process. We want to build something that brings national events to Lee County again. We're very fortunate that the roads are going to be built by the state, Bayshore Road being widened, State Road 31 being widened. So we're going to have some great opportunity out there to build something that can really draw people to that area, and we're going to build a mixed-use arena that's big enough to have national dog shows, national horse shows, and big-time concerts.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to travel to Miami. We shouldn't have to travel to Tampa. We're Lee County, and we're big enough to have people stay right here and spend their dollars here.
What would you consider your Civic Center aside, if that is, what is your biggest success, 2 successes since you've been on the board?
I think Civic Center is obviously going to be one.
You can't use that one. You already said it.
All right,
2 other ones.
all right, I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. Some folks came to me and wanted to try to really start doing something about the traffic out in Buckingham. And they talked about a light at Cemetery and Buckingham Road. And that light just got installed.
Okay.
So those are, to me, your success things from listening to your neighbors.
Mhm.
And that's what they wanted, and we got it done for them. I'll give you another one. There was a development on Orange River and Staley that was a development. So this is a great example, and not many people would know this. That was approved by the county commission for, I think, a couple hundred plus homes, right? I asked the staff, the 2020 staff, is there any way that we could look into that property to see if it would make sense to be 2020 property? That vote is the 2020 board voted and has a contract, and we are going to finalize that vote on this I think Tuesday the 6th, and that's called stopping some development, isn't it?
Mhm.
So those are success stories.
But
But we have to
how is
understand
that? How did that?
because it had some sensitive land that gave us the opportunity to see if we could buy it. We can't buy every piece of land in every project, so we seen an opportunity to help the traffic in that rural area and do what we did, and that's what we did.
Sorry, we're distracted by
Yeah,
the
we're flooding.
weather.
We're flooding.
We're flooding
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk at all about the Sunshine Boulevard, the Sunshine Road coming through? Anything
well,
with that?
I think that's
Sorry, now I'm really off.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's okay. I think that's something that is hopefully a future success. I hope that if I'm reelected, that we get that road done. I think it is absolutely a game changer for all of Lee County. It's a game changer for the traffic, and we don't need it 20 years from now. We need it now.
Mhm.
And I believe if with the right pressures and the right pushes, we can get that thing started in the next 3 or 4 years, and we can have a road that absolutely makes a huge difference for Lee County and a huge difference for Lehigh. They need businesses out there, and we need to help them in any way we can bring businesses to Lehigh.
And so and now I'm going to flip again now because we were talking about this before. The 31 bridge is
Yes.
going to get widened.
It's a new high span bridge coming. The drawbridge will be taken out. So it's going to get a high span bridge there.
And that's the state doing that.
The state doing that. A lot of people out in our area.
Put another high span bridge down here.
I that's something that we definitely should be looking into. I agree. We need more access down here. There's no question about that. Look, my wife, we grew up here. We've spent many, many years of our life vacationing down here. We love this area, and we love the beach, and we know the traffic can be really bad during tourist season coming down. So, but we have to just pick our problems and keep fixing and keep fixing and keep fixing. And the State Road 31, something that it has to be done. It was a rural area, and it's exploding out there. The traffic is horrendous, and luckily for us, the state is building it, and it's not your tax dollars doing it, not your local tax dollars doing it.
There are people out there who are opposed to a lot of the development. What can you say to them?
I hear you. I mean, we hear you. And like I said, you had walked away, but one of my biggest accomplishments recently was we had a property off
The board, 2020 board looked in to see if it was possible that we could buy that property with the 2020 dollars. And that was approved by the 2020 board, and we're going to
be proving it this week. So there's how we can help development.
It's raining a little bit here, Mike.
It's raining
Yeah.
and flooding, yes, sir.
Yeah. My truck is almost underwater, but
Yeah.
I got a baby truck, so she's worried. I mean, what's going to happen to my truck? Is it going to get ruined, Mike?
Well, I'll pull you out if we need to. My truck's a little bit taller.
Yeah, you got a real truck. I got a baby truck.
Yeah.
Should she move it? Should we move it? The keys are inside the truck if you want to move it. Anyway.
You know what? I'll tell you, these are opportunities commissioners should take more of, where we get a chance to come out and talk about the things that are happening.
I agree.
We really should.
Long form interviews. You don't get it. It's not a sound bite where you're on the news and you can't get context of the entire question.
Exactly.
Are you for Thornton or Molucca? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm for Dave Mullica. I think he is a good man. He's a family man. He's a businessman here in Lee County. So I think they're a great family. I think he's going to do a great job on that board.
Yeah, and I think that we'll talk about this after, but there's some other stuff that I want to tell people about. Why? I mean, the entire town of Fort Myers Beach Council has endorsed David. I don't know who can or cannot on the county level, but there's major endorsements. Marcino has endorsed them. So, do you think he'll be a good county rep when he is elected?
I do. I think he's a good businessman, and I think he really cares about Lee County like I do. And if I could go ahead and say, since we're going to talk politics for a minute,
yes, let's.
I'm very proud of the endorsements that I have, and I'd like to tell you about a few of them.
Do it.
Carmine Marcino is endorsing me. Amir Fox, our state attorney, the Firefighter Association and paramedics, 1826 is endorsing me. The Trump Club's endorsing me. The Hispanic Vote is endorsing me. So I'm real proud of all the endorsements that I have, because I know those folks pay a lot of attention to what's going on, and they know that I have the best interests of Lee County at heart. So I'm proud of my endorsements.
What are your, if you get elected, what do you want to be a priority for you? I know your term as the chairman of the board expires, and then I think Kevin's next in line.
Yes.
What the county does is they rotate everybody around, and when Ray's term came up, he decided he didn't want to do it, so it goes whoever the next one is. And so Kevin will be the chair. But what are your priorities?
I have really two priorities. One is continuing to make sure that we build that civic center and that 4-H program for those kids out there. They deserve the same thing that all the other kids in Lee County have with these multi-million-dollar ballparks. They deserve an arena and barns out there that rival those type of things, and that's one of my biggest goals. My second goal is traffic. Let's just face it. Being in the construction business, I totally understand what it takes, and it's getting them started. And I'm pushing very hard. That's why I'm on an MPO board, to continue to look for the future, get these roads started, work with the state. We can get money from the state. I just met with all four, our Mike G. Lombardo, Adam
Botana,
yeah, and Tiffany Esposito. We need money. Let's build these roads. Let's leave a legacy behind. Let's change Lee County. Let's get these roads built.
Do you feel like the building department at county level is pushing out permits fast enough for people?
No, sir, they are not.
Oh.
They are absolutely not.
How do you fix that?
You have to bang a few heads, I believe, and that's coming. I pretty much made a decision. I get beyond, we have to realize as county commissioners, we are elected. And the folks that work for the county are not elected.
Mm-hmm.
We are the policymakers. We're the decision makers. And that's one thing that I promise I'm going to be doing. I understand.
What's the problem?
It's our hands in things we don't need our hands in. We have inspections.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to meet code with those inspections. But we have projects that go in there that are simple things like building a fence, putting your fence up, and it's taking months. A re-roof with the same material. All it's got to do is make sure it's nailed down properly. Those are all done in the inspections. Make sure the product that you're using is an approved product. That takes minutes to review.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it taking months and months and months to get a re-roof permit? Why is a permit, if your air conditioner's out, why is it taking a month or two? If you're building a pool.
Why is it taking a month or two, Mike?
We need to make sure that people down there understand that they work for us.
Do you have enough people there, or
we have enough people? You know what?
They on coffee breaks all the time?
Well,
what the hell are they doing?
Everybody needs to go back to work.
All right.
And I mean it.
They're not working from home, are they?
We probably
They don't
have
have masks on, do they?
That's going to change.
Wow.
And I'm absolutely adamant about changing.
That wasn't a question for me, but one of the local folks
it absolutely
typed
needs
it in,
to change,
typed
and
it in.
they all know. I've made the promise. I want everyone to remember. I had to deal with a hurricane first, and being in the construction industry, I had a lot on my hands at the beginning,
Sure.
working with the state and everybody trying to help rebuild this county. But I can be a commissioner now.
Yeah.
And we're going to make that change down there. And there's going to be a lot of people that everyone's frustrated. If you go down to get a permit from the county and it takes months and months for a simple permit, something is wrong, and we're going to change it. I guarantee you we're going to change it.
It was so funny because right after the storm, everybody was bitching about Fort Myers Beach and about how easy it was at Lee County. It's completely the opposite now.
It is. It's gotten worse. When we have a backlog that's taking, a simple, you have a building that's CO'd, and someone's just going to put a chiropractor's unit in that building, an office building that's already approved. Building's done. You're just doing a build out, and a build out takes over a year. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
A build out is nothing but partitions to divide a building up that is already built and CO'd. That should be almost done in days.
Yeah.
And taking a year, when I see those projects, I step in on those projects because something's wrong.
Are you allowed to direct the staff, or do you have to go
The
through
only
Dave
thing
Harner?
I obviously have to
Yeah.
go through Dave Harner all the time, but
Yeah.
I will say to Dave, why is it? Look at this. What is going on here? And you know, we shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And we need to fix it.
Can we also agree that putting AstroTurf on the beach was a dumbass idea, and you need to change that?
You know, I'd like to have that vote back.
I'm
gonna
guessing
be
at
dead
the
honest.
time you didn't know that
We
it
did
would be
not know.
crazy.
I didn't, and it was one of those things that kind of blew by us. We weren't briefed enough on. I didn't.
Yeah,
I'd like
who
to
knows
take,
that until somebody
I'd like
else
to take
knows?
that vote back, and if they wanted somebody resubmit it, I think we could probably change that. But
No, I
that was a
think you got-
mistake.
I think
and
you
you know
got-
what? You have to understand. Sometimes we make mistakes, and I believe that was one of them.
I didn't know that if you put AstroTurf on the sand, your feet are going to catch fire. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I thought it was a maintenance issue, and it was going to be better. I certainly would like that.
Yeah,
I'd
I
like to
think
see
it'll
that one
change. I
again.
think you guys will probably fix that one.
I hope we do.
Why
Absolutely.
should people on Fort Myers Beach vote for Mike Greenwell? And
Well, if you want to get something done, I'm the guy. I mean, I'm not going to BS you. I'm going to tell you right now. If you want to get it done, I'm your guy. I believe you have to put in the work, and and like I said, I have one key thing. You got to get it started if you want to get it done, and that's what I'm doing.
Yep. Anything else you want to say? I mean, I wish we could do this again, but it's crazy out here right now. I
It
mean, the water is
and,
crazy.
you know,
we appreciate
I'm
you coming.
sure
You're gonna have to fly home.
Well, let me tell everybody: make sure you're being safe out there. If you're on the road, drive slow, drive safe. It's none of us should really be out today, but we are, and let's just make sure we're doing everything we can to be safe. And we're fortunate; we're going to get a little bit of flooding. We're going to have some storm surge and some trees down and some weather, but we're going to be pretty good shape.
World Series prediction.
Oh, there's no question; it's not going to be the Red Sox.
We know that. Who would you put your money on today if you had to?
I think there's some really good ball clubs. I think teams like Baltimore and Cleveland, there could be
Baltimore.
some surprises.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, can you believe how they've come along? Like they
I know.
sucked for so long.
I
Like the
know.
Houston Astros sucked for so long, and then they were great for so long.
Well, it's
Do you watch it all, or
I watch some, not
Yeah.
as much as I used to,
Yeah.
but now I have this other job, and it's called being a Lee County Commissioner. It's a full-time job.
when you see the contracts that are being signed by these players now, it has to make you angry.
Well,
What was the biggest contract you ever had?
my biggest was $14 million
Well, that's not
for 4
bad.
years, but
4 years,
I'd be
though.
making that in 1 year now.
I know, kidding.
Lifetime 300 hitter in the major leagues. I'm pretty sure I'd have some pretty big contracts.
Now I should know this, but not in the Hall of Fame or in the Hall of Fame.
I'm in the Red Sox Hall of Fame, and I don't think I'll ever make the Hall of Fame because I played in the steroid era.
Okay.
I lost the MVP to Jose Canseco. I lost the Rookie of the Year to Mark McGuire. So 2 steroid users.
Yeah.
And my career would be a whole different career if I had those 2 awards.
300 hitter. No such thing exists right now in
Not
baseball.
anymore,
You'll never
so-
see a 300 hitter. You'll never see a
not
picture.
lifetime.
You never see a pitcher that pitches 9 innings either.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I think that, I will say being an athlete has definitely helped me be a politician because I got big shoulders.
Yeah. Well, you sneezed the other day and broke 3 ribs, so you're not in great shape
I'm
anymore.
not,
What
man.
the hell
what the
happened, man?
heck? I was down here vacationing like I do every year on the down here at the Pink Shell, and I went to get up out of the chair and I kind of jerked myself up and
Broke 3 ribs.
I think I tore the cartilage in my ribs, so I've had a rough 3 weeks here, Ed.
All right, man. Well, good luck in the election. Thanks for coming all the way down here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Mike
it.
Greenwell,
Yes, sir.
everybody. And there's nobody left here because it's crazy out there, but good luck in the race. Folks, I'm getting right out of here because the computer is totally soaked. Everything is wet here. I don't even know if I can turn it off. Thank you and goodbye.